The morning air was crisp and golden, wrapping the world in a quiet stillness that made everything feel suspended in time. But for Tom, that fragile calm shattered in an instant. For years, he had placed unwavering trust in Emily, his wife of 8 years. Their marriage had weathered its share of storms and sunny days. Yet beneath it all, Tom believed in the strength of their bond. He never doubted her, not once. Lately, though, things had begun to shift. Emily was working longer hours, often slipping in well past dark. She explained it away as new responsibilities piling up, a demanding client at work stretching her thin. Tom didn't question her. He listened, accepted, and kept being the supportive husband he always vowed to be. But over time, little things began to gnaw at him. Her sudden obsession with her appearance, the way her voice dropped to a hushed whisper during late-night calls, the fierce protectiveness she showed over her phone. Something didn't feel right. Then came the news of a business trip to Los Angeles, weeks of talking it up, stressing how critical it was for her job and future. Tom wanted to believe her. He smiled, nodded, buried his doubts deep inside. Yet, beneath that hopeful facade, a quiet unease stirred in his chest. The night before she left, Emily seemed distant, her mind somewhere far away. Her answers were clipped, her eyes hollow. At the airport, when Tom hugged her goodbye, something was off. The warmth he expected was gone. Her embrace felt stiff and empty, like a stranger's hug. It wasn't the Emily he knew. It was someone else, someone pretending. Days slipped by until Tom's phone buzzed with a call that changed everything. The name on the screen made his heart pound. Lena, one of Emily's colleagues. She hadn't gone on the trip, but had heard something she couldn't ignore. "I don't want to hurt you." Lena's voice was gentle but cautious. "Emily's not in L.A. She's with Daniel, the guy from sales. They've been seeing each other for a while now." Tom froze, her words crashing into him like a punch to the chest. The world blurred around him. That gnawing doubt he buried suddenly had a name, a face. Unable to sit with the storm raging inside, he needed to know the truth. He sifted through emails, social media accounts, even phone records. Every excuse, every late night, every whispered lie lined up into one damning pattern. Emily and Daniel weren't on a business trip. They were wrapped in a lie he never saw coming. His stomach churned with nausea as anger and sorrow collided violently. How could she live a double life and still kiss him goodbye every morning? But instead of exploding in rage, Tom took a breath and chose a different path. He stepped back from the fire, seeking clarity and space to think. He replayed the years, the memories, the plans, the home they had built together, all now crumbling. This wasn't a mistake. It was a betrayal, deliberate and sharp. Tom took control of what he could. While Emily basked in the sun with someone else, he changed the locks on their home. The space they once shared would no longer welcome her return. When she came back, she would face the consequences of her choices. He took a leave from work and methodically packed up every one of her belongings, placing the boxes neatly in the garage. The process wasn't easy. Sometimes he crumbled, sinking to the floor with an old photo album in his lap, tears silently tracing paths down his cheeks. But he refused to let grief consume him. Not this time. The breaking point came with a photo of Sarah, Emily's business partner, sent from her own trip to Miami. She spoke of networking and workshops, but the image told a different story. In the background, lounging shirtless on a beach towel, was Mark, Daniel's closest friend. That was all Tom needed. A hollow laugh escaped him. He knew exactly what awaited Emily's return. When the day finally arrived, her suitcase rolled up the driveway as if nothing had changed. But the door didn't open. The locks had been changed. She called his phone, confused, desperate. No answer. She called again, and finally Tom picked up, his voice sharp and cold. "I know, Sarah. I know everything. Mark, the lies. It's all over. Your stuff's in the garage. I've filed for divorce." He ended the call. No explanations, no apologies, just silence. Sarah stood frozen on the porch, suitcase at her side, the heavy weight of truth settling over her like a storm. Tears welled and spilled down her cheeks. She had torn down everything they had built, and there was no turning back. Tom didn't linger in sorrow. He had already sat with a lawyer, signed the papers, and taken the first steps toward closure. The divorce was a turbulent, draining ordeal, but he never faltered. Sarah never fought it either. Deep down, she knew she crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. For Tom, a strange calm settled over him as he moved forward. The pain was sharp, but each day carried him further from betrayal and closer to clarity. That chapter was closed, and it had to be. Time marched on, and slowly Tom rebuilt himself. He poured energy into his career, reconnected with old friends he'd lost touch with, and gave himself the grace to heal. Some days still hurt, but the heaviness on his chest grew lighter with each sunrise. He no longer saw himself as a man shattered by betrayal. Instead, he was a man who chose to stand up, let go, and reclaim his life. Then, something unexpected happened. He met someone new, a woman who was calm, kind, and never pushing to move faster than he was ready. It started quietly. Simple conversations, coffee meetups, long walks that wandered through both the city and their thoughts. For the first time in years, a spark flickered inside Tom, a flicker of hope, maybe even joy. He realized that the painful end of his marriage had cleared space for a deeper, truer love, one grounded in honesty, patience, and partnership. Tom was no longer the man he had been with Sarah. He was stronger, wiser, and clear about what he needed and what he would never again accept. As for Sarah, things with Mark fizzled as quickly as they had started. Whatever connection, they thought couldn't survive the weight of guilt and reality. It ended almost as suddenly as it began, leaving her alone with the consequences of her choices. Regret became her lonely companion. But Tom moved forward. He wasn't chasing happiness. It found him quietly in stillness, in peace, and in a new love he never expected. Betrayal had shattered his world, yes, but in breaking it down, it handed him something far more precious. A fresh start, a second chance. And in the end, that was more than enough.